Ladies and gentlemen, Jake Paul versus KSI. Who wins and how? Well, let me tell you. So, we're going to compare both the fighters first. So, KSI, what does he bring to the table? As Jake Paul says that KSI is not the A side. Obviously, both fighters are going to believe that they are the A side. Which, for me at the moment, you'd say that Jake Paul is the A side. But then again, Jake only wanted this KSI fight because KSI beat Logan, his brother. He wants to redeem the family name. That's what he was saying. So for me, I would probably say you'd think Jake Paul because he's beat more credible opponents. But then Jake Paul hasn't really he has. I don't know, some of his fights, you got to think of Ben Askren, Nate Robinson. I would Gabe choke them off. Tyron Woodley, you were face you were alright against Tyron Woodley. Anderson Silva looked a bit better, KSI. He looked good, against Temper. Saw him for just over half a round, knocked him out clean. For Pineda Swarms, knocked them out, and KSI's got up the level of opponents before Jake Paul. So what does KSI bring to the table? KSI brings power, speed. He's very game. He doesn't seem to be bothered about getting hit. That's what you like to hear. He's developing this awkward Michael Venom Page-esque bounce. He's bouncing. He's stepping when he's bouncing in, and then he's throwing shots, which is looking good from KSI. And to be honest, in my opinion, I think actually KSI. I've changed my opinion. I think KSI would beat Jake Paul. I don't think Jake Paul's had someone like KSI who'll put the calculated pressure on you. The only thing I would critique about KSI's opponent, Temper, in his fight was he got hit with some easy shots when he was coming in. He got hit with, I think it was a beautiful, was it a right hook from Temper? I think he hit with a right hook or a left hook on one of them when he came in. Then he's done the same thing again. But that's only a criticism. But other than that, I don't really want to criticize the man because he was good. I think you'd have to beat Jake Paul. I think the pressure would. I think you'd put that pressure on Jake. I think Jake wouldn't beat KSI just for the fact that the pressure KSI is going to put on him. Jake Paul, I don't think he's faced the power that KSI has yet. Tyron Woodley rocked him, and I don't even think that was the fully connected punch from Tyron Woodley. I think if he hit it hard, I could have knocked him out. But I think KSI can definitely knock him out. I think outboxing wise, I don't think JJ would outbox Jake Paul. But I think JJ would end up stopping Jake Paul if that's going to happen. But the size difference, looking at Jake, looking at KSI, the size difference looks incredible, I don't know what weight they'd have to set at. Because the thing is, that's the roadblock in this fight is weight, where it's going to take place, and other things in the contract, like rehydration and stuff. The fight's going to be in the United Kingdom. If they fight in the United Kingdom, and Jake Paul can say, well, if the fight's in your back garden, then we are fighting at this weight. If he says no, then he'd be like, well, don't fight us, and Or you could say, well, fight in the States and have your weight, and that's how it's going to work. And it's going to be a tough negotiation where one side is just if Jake Paul really wants his fight as much as he's saying, he'll just have to go, well, okay, but also KSI, he's saying Jake Paul's my end goal. If Jake Paul's your end goal, then that kind of seems like, okay, you're my end goal, I'm the A side, so why are you putting all this in a contract? But we don't know what gets in the contract, but all I know is if KSI had beat Jake Paul, if you had to set a game plan, I think it'd be calculated pressure, lots of punches and bunches, nice combinations. I think I do believe that JJ could knock out Jake Paul. I don't think Jake Paul is being tested enough in the ring yet. He's done the rounds and stuff, but when the people he's fought have been quite old, like Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva, Ben Askren, Nate Robinson, all oldish, for the fight game. Maybe Nate Robinson you could thingy, but Tyron Woodley and Ben Askren and Anderson Silva are definitely too old. Jake Paul's fight against Tommy Fury is set to be announced for the 25th of February. And that's a fight where you see where Jake Paul's at. So for Jake Paul to beat KSI, I think there's two ways. He can knock him out, or he can outbox him. I think KSI possesses better feet work than Jake, and I think he's quicker than Jake. Who carries more power? Most power? The probably both could knock each other out. Both got knockout power, but I would say Jake Paul's got that knockout power. Jake Paul's got a danger right hand, but I think his feet are slow. I think KSI could catch him with slow feet, but I do think he's the better boxer, and I think KSI is the better fighter. But KSI, I just think he'd be too quick for Jake. I think that's just my personal opinion. I'm not being biased or anything. I just think KSI is too quick for Jake, and I think he'll just catch him every time when he comes in. So Jake Paul would have to probably beat KSI to knock him out on time, and he'd have to time him coming in with a lovely like left hook or something. But you never know. But these fighters, especially KSI, going to grow and grow and grow and grow. I don't want this fight to happen till summer 24, because I want to see KSI have at least 2, 3, 4 more fights against some top level people where like, okay, and then see Jake Paul fight Tommy. But if Jake Paul fights Tommy Fury and beats him, then in my opinion, that fight happens later. That will not be Jake Paul's next fight. Jake Paul will probably have a comeback, then fight KSI. Or KSI could say, well, you're not relevant now. But, you don't know. But for KSI to win, I think, as I've said, speed, use his power, knock him out. Or if Jake Paul's going to win, you have to outbox him or time a shot and land it. But who knows? Who would be the favourite in the fight so far? If the book odds will be Jake Paul, obviously it's going to be Jake Paul. But people are gonna have different opinions, and people are gonna have opinions on if you like Jake or hate Jake, or if you like KSI or hate KSI, and that's how it's gonna work. And I think it's gonna be like, right, I think it's just a contract that'll be the big stumbling block, like what's it called, like most valuable promotions or something. It's gonna be them, Misfits. They're gonna be like, well, we want our fighters on, and Misfits gonna be like, but it's Misfits show. We want our Misfits fighters on with Happy Punch fighters on. And I just think it's going to be a massive stumbling block. It's still a massive fight. It'll do massive numbers. But for me, I think Jake Paul, Tommy Fury has to be done before KSI Jake. I think KSI's got to fight maybe like a Tyrone Woodley, then Joe Fournier, or slim Tyrone Woodley, then Jake. If KSI, sorry, for Joe Fournier and beat him, that he is more credible than any of Jake Paul's opponents, because he's a boxer. He's won like a intercontinental belt or international belt, like a WBA one. That's a credible belt, They're not like you're not world champion and all that, but it's a good belt to win. Most upcoming boxers would take that belt right now. And he beat the boxer, Jake Paul beat the old MMA fighter, and that's what the critics of Jake Paul say. You beat the old MMA fighter. So guys, let me know who you think win the fight, and let us know how. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave your comments on what you think will happen, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.